PC deal. What are your thoughts on that? Because to me, and this is, I don't know if you watch the show, so I'll just briefly run you over my rant here. It was a stupid idea, in my opinion, for him to go there. He's going to do maybe the same, if not worse, as he would in the 450 class on a privateer bike. He had a run in 250s, as we all know, on Star Yamaha, where he had a couple flashes in the pan, like that Red Bud race where he led whole shots and leads like 3/4 of it or whatever. To me, there's really nothing to be gained. He's like we'll call it 3 to 8 guy on that PC 250. He's probably a 5 to 10 guy on the privateer 450. I think there stands to be more to gain if he rides the 450, not only from a monetary standpoint, because he'll make more money, because I know how those PC fill-in rides for the summer work. It is basically, well, here's your bonus structure, and we'll pay for you to get there, but, like, we're not giving you any money. And so then at the end of the summer, yes, he's going to be able to say he rode for PC, and yes, it's okay, but, like, nothing will come of it other than he spent another year on a bike that, again, didn't really improve his results.
Now, Coach, I was on that same show, and I was the protagonist, not the antagonist, and I'm saying, hell yeah, Masterpool. Like, that's, if you're trying to make a move to be Ricky Carmichael, that's your way to be more competitive and have a better shot at becoming Ricky Carmichael. If you're trying to be there and have longevity in the sport and make an extra $3,000, then maybe that's not your move. But if you're trying to become Ricky Carmichael, man, that was my vantage point, right?
No, I can see both of your points, and I agree with both of you. The number one question that I had is, and as soon as I heard that he went over to PC, I reached out to Derek Harris at HP Development, and my question was, because Derek, as you guys know, he does the Navigating Amateur Motocross podcast. And you guys know I'm loyal to or probably loyal to a fault sometimes. First thing I thought about is, what a kick in the groin to HBI. You have this team. You've got Masterpool, who's already burnt through Star. You've got Masterpool that's been given shots here and there with different teams. Maybe some people would say that the tenure of those different opportunities wasn't long enough. I'll grant you that. But what an absolute groin for the owner of HBI to say, hey, thanks for the last couple of years, but I've got this opportunity to go over to PC. Trav, to your point, I can tell you that you're 100% accurate. There's absolutely no salary whatsoever. There's some expenses that Masterpool has to pay behind the scenes, like his own practice mechanic. There's other things that he has to pay for.
Oh, wow.
So when you start adding the pros and cons, like, okay, yeah, I understand. You get like Tom's point, you get a chance to go to PC, maybe the revelation of the summer. Maybe you start going out and you beat Levi Kitchen. Let's say Hammaker and those guys come back, Forkner comes back, and you put them in the hurt locker. To Tom's point, hell yeah, you leveraged an opportunity, but it hasn't at Star. It didn't happen at HBI. It's not happening at PC in the first 3. Now, it's not really fair, because what did he do? He rode the bike for like 4 laps before Paula or something. Nobody holds that over his head, but he was fastest qualifier this weekend and didn't stay up front. So, okay, your fastest qualifier, you started extremely well. You couldn't stay up front on a PC bike. Now we're back to the curse of PC. If you can't win on PC, where could you win? So, I don't know. To me, why I say I agree with both of you. If you're playing the long game and you can leverage it, absolutely the best chess game and you won. But to your point, Trav, why would you do that? You're taking money out of your pocket to go race for another team to possibly win them another championship, and maybe you do it for a season or two, but we've seen that you may win for them, but that doesn't mean they retain you the next year, because we don't know what's going on with Fortner's contract. We know him got an extension. We know Crashadoo got an extension. So where would that actually leave into the season?
Yeah, I mean,
because if who's the redheaded kid? Is it Seth Dennis, the redheaded kid?
No, Drew Adams.
300.
So if Drew Adams is coming up, then he gets the 4th spot. Think about it. You've got Forkner, Crashadoo. You got Crashadoo and Hammaker extended. They're there next year. Forkner, I don't know what's going on with. And now all of a sudden you think about this fourth spot, right? Well, if you've got Levi Kitchen, which I think has a 2-year, you've got 3 of the 4 spots. Is it Forkner, or is it going to be Masterpool at the end of the year?
And Masterpool can't ride Supercross.
What kind of a man crush
No, it can't.
has on Forkner. What's that?
I said Masterpool can't ride Supercross. Like, he's just not great at it. So, yeah, so Fork's going to get the nod every time. I said, we've seen this before. I watched it. I watched it with someone that I guess you would call it personally know. Mitchell Harrison did this in 2021 also. He got a fill-in ride with PC for outdoors. He ran top 5 every single race. And when you get to the end of the summer, Mitch looks at you and goes, "Thanks for your service," shakes your hand, and like, "See you later." And that's why, like, I'm with you. I know all the ins and outs of like what you have to pay for, what gets paid for, what your setup is, what your salary is, all that kind of stuff with a fill-in ride. And it's like,
I wouldn't mind that if I was Mitchell Harrison.
it's like, again, you had the same thing with Mitchell as we have with Ty Masterpool. Went to Star, had issues, like, and again, Mitchell's thing wasn't even like
got better.
Like Ty's situation was that Ty's situation at Star was they didn't ride Supercross at all, period. And then like Mitchell's situation at Star was like a health issue combined with, maybe we'll call it, some subpar results then. He's much better now.
He's growing a lot.
Yeah, but some subpar results then, which we all know that Star is heavily results based. So if you're not cutting the meat, then they just cut you, period, which is what happened with him. And so then he gets this PC ride, which he too had the same gleam in his eye when I talked to him then, that you would think Masterpool has now, of like, ooh, I'm going to do this and that's going to give me results and it's going to be a fill-in. And again, he crushed it doing that fill-in ride. Top 5 every single moto. And what did it get you at the end? It got you nothing.
That's bullshit. He went to Canada for a factory deal and did very well up there.
Okay, but what I mean is, in the U.S. here, it got him nothing. Did he get a factory ride out of it? No. Like, he's got a pretty decent gig now with the, I think it's the Partzilla whatever team there.
It got him a factory ride up there though, and he did very well with it.
Okay, but that's not a factory ride in the U.S. If you're asking
Semantics.
him, hey,
but take it one step. But take it one step further. What about the owners of HBI who they reached out and they put a bike underneath Ty when he started doing well, right?
Yep.
So then he starts getting the team some recognition. He starts to get some sponsors for the team. The team took a risk on him and brought him in. He returned the favor, got some results, then fails. And this is exactly why this sport continues to cannibalize itself. Now, I'm not saying, to Tom's point, certainly we all want to further our opportunities. But if you literally sit with a pros and cons list of what came out of it versus what he lost, you have a team that was essentially, I want to articulate this the wrong way. I'm not saying all of the resources at HBI were geared towards Ty, but the lion's share of them were. And so what does he give back to HBI? Hey,
what's the return on the investment, right?
Different opportunity. I wouldn't say a better opportunity, but a different. And I bail. And this is one of the number one problems. I mean, I've talked to my private investors about this, and Trav, you and I talked about this off the record. This is why Supercross, the idea of the net equity team increasing based on what the riders do to build the equity of the team, because the teams don't give anything back to the riders as a percentage of net increase of net worth. Mm-hmm. This is exactly why we have this. I get $10 more from another goggle companies, bail goggle companies. I get $100 more than boot companies, so I bail boot companies. And it's like, if you're, Trav, both you and Tom have been around the sport a long time. How many people do you know that own dealerships or are in the industry who pour heart, body, and soul into an amateur for 5, 8, 10 years just to get completely shit on when you go pro? Like, thanks, but no thanks.
Yep.
Something that I don't mean to jump off what you're saying here, Coach, but when we just talked about Mitchell Harrison, that's something I really loved about him going to Monster Pro Circuit Kawasaki, because he was Monster Pro Circuit Kawasaki his entire amateur career. So it was kind of a homecoming for him, although it only lasted one season. It was fun to watch. You always like to see that,
And I wish these fill-in rides in the summer like this did something, but the thing is like, barring winning a damn title, like, none of these teams are signing you because, again, it just, the outdoors, and Coach, you and I know this because we've talked about this a lot, the outdoors just don't matter to these OEMs or these teams, really. Like, they could give a shit less, to be honest. They all do it because they're still technically partnered, and now they've got this SMX thing, which kind of ties them into it a little bit more. But to be honest, they don't give a shit. They'd run 20 rounds of Supercross and hang the boots up and see you in January if these teams really could. Now, like I said, again, they're partnered with outdoors, so we all know how that works, and they do the outdoors. But to be honest, none of them care. So if you don't go in there and absolutely just set the world on fire and win a title, if you've been on factory teams or whatever, you're better off to just stay where you're at, essentially, because
that's not my opinion whatsoever.
None of these teams are going to give you anything to race outdoors, and you're going to, like we've talked about now, spend money, and it's just what's you build more, better rep, better fan base, staying on your privateer thing, doing top fives like that, than going to PC and doing top fives, because now you're just another factory guy that's like not cutting the mustard. You're not winning. You're not cutting the mustard.
Well, I don't exactly agree with you at all about this, but that's okay. What do you think?